The king is back. Holy shit, I was not expecting that from Petr Yan. I wrote up a game plan and showed that Merab was beatable, and there was a way in which you can beat Merab, but I didn't think Petr Yan was going to go out there and actually do it. I don't think it's an understatement to say that this was the greatest, or at least one of the greatest championship performances we've ever seen. Petr Yan showed phenomenal striking, grappling, and overall MMA IQ. But just 2 years ago, Petr Yan was right here, on the end of a very, very unfortunate 3-fight losing streak that seemed like it was going to keep him back from ever reaching the title again. So after 4.5 years, 9 fights later, a 3-fight losing streak, a 4-fight winning streak, and having to be a plus 350 underdog to get the belt, Petr Yan did the seemingly impossible and became champion once again. In this video, of course, we have to go through the insane career comeback of Petr Yan, and I'm also going to argue why this is the greatest career comeback we've ever seen in UFC history. Of course, our story starts right here. Ah yes, the infamous knee that completely changed the bantamweight division forever and Petr Yan's career forever. People forget, Petr Yan was supposed to be the champion for a very long time. He had an insanely deep bag, was undefeated in the UFC, and when he beat the bricks out of Jose Aldo for the belt, he was only 27 years old. He looked like the future of the division and was probably going to dominate for a very long time. And when he faced Aljamain Sterling for the first time to defend his belt, it was going to be a close fight, but I think a lot of people had Petr Yan winning. In the first couple of rounds, Petr Yan showed that not only could he deal with the grappling of Aljo, but he could bring his own grappling offense as well, and showed very good striking through the first 3 rounds, though Sterling was staying in there. But in the 4th, Petr Yan made a decision that would change the course of his career in bantamweight division forever, as in the words of Conor McGregor impersonating the words of Joe Rogan.
That was an illegal knee on the head of a grounded opponent. That's a knee to a grounded opponent. Call the cops.
Even though Petr Yan recognized immediately that Aljo was down, apparently someone in his corner said to throw the knee, and in the heat of the moment, Petr did exactly what his corner said and threw the illegal knee. And after a little theatrics from Aljo and everyone on the edge of their seats wondering if this fight was going to continue, this fight was called off, and unfortunately, this was the way Petr Yan would lose the belt. But the rematch was inevitable. Pretty much everyone thought that Aljo was selling the knee. The fight was really close, and no one really recognized Aljo as being the true champion. So, of course, the rematch was going to come soon. After Petr Yan had a sweet bounce-back fight against Corey Sandhagen in a beautiful display of striking, Petr was again set to fight Aljamain Sterling to reclaim the belt and right everything that was wrong. And continuing from the first fight, this fight was really, really close. Petr had his moments on the feet, but what really helped Aljo in this fight was his wrestling and his ability to get Jan's back and control him from there. Aljo striked a little less with Petr in this fight in comparison to their first fight and really looked to get takedowns and control Petr Yan. That wrestling approach was able to take rounds 2 and round 3 clearly, but Petr adjusted to the wrestling and landed more in the 4th and the 5th to clinch out the final 2 rounds. So it really came down to a relatively quiet first round that was split by the judges, with 2 of them giving the edge to Aljo. It was razor close, and I honestly don't blame the judges for thinking this fight was that close as well, especially that first round being close and relatively quiet like I said before. So I could see the judging going either way, but unfortunately for Petr, it just didn't go his way this time. But if you thought that fight with Aljamain Sterling was close and controversial, wait until you hear about this next fight. As Aljamain Sterling went on to defend his belt against TJ Dillashaw, Petr Yan was back to fighting contenders, and there was a red-hot contender that was starting to gain momentum and attention from fans. Sean O'Malley was starting to become a huge name amongst casuals with his bright and colorful look coupled with his beautiful striking. He was KOing guys and styling on everyone. He had an insanely high KO rate for anyone, let alone a bantamweight, but these were, with all due respect, bottom tier bantamweights. Fans were eager to see the young star finally get a big name in the division, and well, we surprisingly got what we were looking for, as he was now getting a huge name and former champion, #1 contender at the time in Petr Yan. This was an insane move, as Sean O'Malley had never fought anyone close to Petr Yan's caliber, and now the 11th ranked contender was going to fight #1 in Abu Dhabi, and winner was going to get the title shot next. And lucky us, we would get a war. No matter what you think about Sean O'Malley or this fight, you have to respect that he showed he could hang in there with the absolute best. Starting in the first round, he really looked like he belonged there. Then in the second round, shit got real as Sean O'Malley rocked Petr Yan out of the switch, and Petr Yan would hit him back doing the same thing. Petr Yan would have a strong end to the second round, but Sean O'Malley would end the fight well as he cut Petr Yan with a solid knee in this last round. It really came down to that first round, and in the decision, unfortunately, the judges went 2-1 in favor of Sean O'Malley. It was extremely controversial, and I've watched this banger of a fight over and over again, and I still don't think Sean won that first round, but it didn't matter. In the reality we live in, Sean O'Malley won and would go on to complete Dana White's destiny and become champion by knocking out Aljo, while Yan would have to crawl back to the title by fighting contenders. Good news for Petr Yan, his next fight wouldn't be close. Bad news is that it didn't go his way. Petr Yan would get absolutely steamrolled in his next fight against Merab. Shit was not even close, as Merab was going in for all-time numbers across the board. He attempted 49 takedowns, landing 11, and 400 strikes, landing about half of them. There was no one in the bantamweight division stopping Merab that night. It was takedown after takedown after takedown in between non-stop boxing. Petr didn't even have a chance to get his offense going because Merab shut shit down. And again, it was Petr Yan going back to fighting contenders while his opponent would go on to win the title and have a run of their own. And dude, I remember this because I was a big Petr Yan fan. This was rock bottom. 0-3 with two very, very close and winnable and controversial decisions, and then to top it off, getting his ass beat for his third loss. Meanwhile, the bantamweight division was moving fast from Aljo to Sean to Merab. It seemed like the division had moved on from him in general, and if he ever wanted to get back to the belt, it was going to be a very long journey to get back there. It did not seem like he was ever going to touch the belt again, but fuck it, he pulled himself by his bootstraps and started to make it happen. His first bounce-back win was against a young and talented contender in Song Yadong, and Petr showed levels by mixing up his beautiful striking with his very creative grappling and takedowns to cruise to a decision. Then in probably one of my personal favorite fights of the year, Petr Yan faced Deiveson Figueiredo in a dogfight. Petr Yan showed really crisp boxing and creative takedowns, but he had to survive a bit of adversity as Deiveson dropped him a couple times with hammers, but nonetheless, Petr Yan would survive and still get the dub. Then to continue the legendary comeback, Petr Yan would face Marcus McGee? Yeah, I have no idea why this fight was made. It really should have been Umar at the time, but for some reason he wasn't available? Yeah, I don't know. But I guess that meant Petr Yan would face number 12 ranked contender as the number 3 ranked contender, but credit to Marcus McGee, he gave Petr Yan a solid fight, but there's levels to this, and Petr would pretty much outstrike Marcus McGee through 3. Meanwhile, at the top, Merab was having an all-time year with wins over Umar, Sean, and Corey in the same year. And in a surprise to all, Merab would go for greatness and try to break the record before the year ended for the most title defenses in one year, and he was going to try to do it against Petr Yan and give him a second chance. This was it. Petr was given his chance, and he probably wouldn't get a chance like this for a very long time again. And on paper, he was a huge underdog. By the books, he was around a plus 300 to plus 350 underdog, meaning he had around a 22% chance of winning. And forget the odds, look at this from a fan. Merab already dominated Petr Yan and was carrying the momentum of having an all-time year. Petr Yan was coming off of fighting Marcus McGee. It didn't look good for Petr Yan, and I honestly didn't give him any chance, but boy, did he prove me and everyone else wrong and gave us, and I'm not exaggerating, one of the greatest championship performances you'll ever see. He crashed into Merab, went to the body, and went to the body hard. I mean, those body kicks were so brutal that Merab literally screamed in pain and couldn't hide it. But what was paying dividends was Petr Yan's jab that kept Merab at bay and completely fucked up his face. And man, Petr Yan's grappling here was fantastic. Not only did he defend every single takedown, but he was getting insane takedowns on Merab himself, like this throw in the clinch was masterclass. It's still crazy to think about, but Petr Yan got more takedowns on Merab than Merab did on him. He displayed mixed martial arts on the highest level against the greatest bantamweight of all time. And he really wasn't supposed to be here. He went from a terrible 3-fight losing streak, having to go to a 3-fight winning streak to get back to the belt, and it took him 5 years to finally get a chance at the belt. And to complete his destiny, he had to face the machine and monster and bantamweight GOAT in Merab to reclaim it. This is why this is the greatest career comeback in UFC history. What we witnessed that night was greatness. Anyways, what do you guys think about Petr Yan's comeback? Is it the greatest career comeback we've ever seen? At the very least, this is one of the greatest performances and greatest comebacks in UFC history. I've seen nothing like it. I mean, he was absolutely rock bottom a couple years ago on that 3-fight losing streak to now being champion against the greatest bantamweight we've ever seen. Anyways, thank you guys for watching and always supporting. I'd like to hear you guys' comments in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.